that my old friend, Yusmadi, not student lah, who is, used to be a MP in Balik Pulau in Penang, and also senator, right? And has been a close friend of Anwar for the last 35 years. He has been with him through thick and thin lah, except you didn't go to jail lah.
I'm a lawyer, I cannot go to jail. I have to defend him. I'm his lawyer, I cannot.
He made a very important suggestion just now, no? Because he's been here, invited by the Lee Kuan School of Policy Studies, right? Who are trying to make friends with our neighbors lah. So he was invited, and he says that, wow, down there, everybody very serious, no joking at all, you know, right? And he suggested something very important. We should publish a book of jokes by all our leaders, you know, right? And share jokes amongst the Indonesian leaders, Malaysian leaders. I don't know Singaporean leaders can joke at all, but we should put them in a spot lah, right? You should tell some jokes lah. Okay. So anyway, I'm so glad you are here, and you are so involved in all the Malaysian affairs. You're one of the young Turks, yeah, and part of the Reformasi movement, right? So how would you like to proceed? So I will just ask him a few questions, and then it's open to the house lah. Then you ask him anything lah, right? Okay? Why we don't know? This is all unscripted. No, it's conversation, right? Okay. So I must tell you one thing. When I went to KL, he took me on a very interesting. This was about 6 months ago, right? He took me to look at different bookshops. I tell you, it's amazing. This is a totally different culture, you know. These are young people who start bookshops all over the place, small little bookshops, alright? And these bookshops all have very interesting meetings, you know. They discuss ideas, they discuss politics, they discuss all kinds of things, right? And it's possible, I was thinking, why is it not possible in Singapore? Very simple answer. The rent here will not make it possible. Down there, the rent is cheap, right? So they can have all these things. And I think that this is something that we should think about, you know, that Singapore, we are actually pricing ourselves out, you know. It makes things too expensive, you know. This morning I had my roti prata with my old roti prata friend who used to run a roti prata shop in my neighborhood coffee shop. And then suddenly he left. And then now he started a new roti prata shop further away, so I happened to find him. I said, why you move? Oh, the rent in my old coffee shop was $10,000 a month. How can you make a living selling roti prata at $10,000 a month, right? So now he's paying $6,000 a month. Oh boy, it's very tough. So I think in Malaysia, we are very fortunate in the sense that you have a lot of very cheap rent, and people can experiment, they can try things out, right? So give us an idea about how young people are thinking about their role in the new Madani society, okay? So maybe we start off by asking you, what is Madani, okay? Please.
Hello? Okay, can you hear me? Okay. First of all, thank you. I call you Prof, I still call him Professor. Betul lah, you call him Professor lah kan? Alright, okay. Kensu, thank you very much for the invitation. I've been dealing this session for at least 3 times? Every time he invited me, I said I cannot come because of there's a by-election. The reason why I cannot come, because I cannot give you any view because we need the results first. So, Kensu, thank you very much. First, let me start to know each other first, because for you to converse, you need to know each other. Frankly, I'm an accidental member of parliament, accidental politician. Never in my life that I plan to be a politician.
You're a lawyer, right?
I'm a trained as a lawyer. If you read my books called Lelaki di Sebalik Pulau, A Man Behind the Island, it's just about how I cheated my father. My father's expectation is very simple. Yusmadi, go to any university, come back and teach at our mosque. As simple as that. But that's very important. Why? Later I'll tell you why the religious expectation in the family is like that since when we are young. So of course I was lucky, not because of me, because there was one guy from Singapore, brilliant guy, double first class from Singapore, was first Attorney General of Singapore, was a federal legislative independent politician here, left Singapore after did very good thing for Singapore, drafted agreements between Malaysia and Singapore, left Singapore, went to Malaysia, set up a law school in Malaya University, and after that he said, look, he see the limitation of common law. How common law going to function in the social fabric in Malaysia, we have different multi-religious. What more, you have majority Muslim. He set up International Islamic University. And I was lucky, one, I can satisfy my father to learn Islamic law, but in between I can learn common law and I can learn comparative law. So now I can also become like Wendy. I also can practice law, but at the same time I learn about Islamic law, I learn about comparative law. So I was lucky because of Singaporean. One smart Singaporean by the name of Anwar Ibrahim said that, look here, maybe he said he need to build a different generation. I think he were to stay here, I think one of the best lawyer. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in the words of one of former Chief Justice, he said Anwar Ibrahim was one of high, I don't know, this one quotation I was reading somewhere. All right. The reason why I start with that, because at least you know where I come from. I'm not even planning to be a politician, I'm not even planning to be a lawyer. All right. But why I end up as a senator, end up as a member of parliament in the lower house, because of circumstances. That's important. But I want to say another key word that we want to know about me, I'm very circumstantial. You know, when I say I'm from back of island, that reflect me. I'm very parochial. Because most of you know those from Penang, they are from Georgetown. I'm from back of island. But unfortunately, the guy from back of island is the same guy who was your longest service finance minister, who turned around Pulau Belakang Mati, become Sentosa Island. The guy who went to World Bank and brought back the Dutch economists, who built the development economic departments, who built up Keppel and so many things, and become a friend of LKY Mandarin class. So he wrote that in his book, Relatively Speaking, the first chapter, how he grew up in Balik Pulau. So in different way, you know, in one hand I'm very parochial, in one hand I'm very universal, in another hand I'm very global, and further than that I'm very cosmopolitan. The more I learn about my religion, I become very modern. The more I learn about my religion, my culture, I become more cosmopolitan. That's why when I talk to Keng Soon, I'm not talking to him as a Singaporean. He's just like my brother, he's like my professor, he's like my teacher. Give a big hand to him. He has inspired me all this while. I'm telling you. It's because of his Singaporean, it was politically incorrect to invite Singaporean to come to my constituency to give a lecture to the local government in the district office of Balik Pulau. Can you imagine? And he tried to talk about urbanization, how to be a modern civilization in Balik Pulau. Can you imagine? So because what I don't see him, I interact with him not as a Singaporean. I interact with him as just another brother, not at this level, not at this level, but at this level. So I'm okay. I can create joke with it. I can banter many things. All right. That's I had to put in on that so that you know, Yusmadi, behind Yusmadi, there's so many pejorative things, there's so many normative things underlying Yusmadi. All right. Number one. Can be a conversation.
You mentioned
right.
Balik Pulau.
Yeah.
You mentioned Balik Pulau, the gentleman in question, Han Susan.
Yes.
Right. Number two, you mentioned Ahmad Ibrahim.
Yes.
Your what is the inspiration one? He was the first Malay Queen's Scholar
Yes.
in Raffles Institution. I think it was in 1932 thereabout.
Okay. All right. So can you imagine? I benefit. But when I visited Hon Sun Sen, they call it a memorial at NUS. Can you imagine? They put all the tables, all his chairs, all well in place. When I visited the memorial library, nobody knows. Actually, a member of parliament came and visited for purpose. I came with my jeans, with my slipper. Nobody knows. Suddenly, the librarian asked me, "Why are you so excited about Hon Sun Sen?" I said, "Yeah, he inspired me. I haven't met him, but I read the books. He's a great guy, smart guy. The smartest went to St. Xavier, top student, went to Raffles, become a roommate to Lee Kuan, Goh Kin Siew. When Goh Kin Siew was asked to go to defense, of course, LKY said, I only trusted a few guys. So after Kin Siew only trusted Hon Sun Sen. So for me, it's not about that. Maybe the trust because of brilliance, maybe the trust because of competency, and also brotherhood. I don't know. For me, that kind of friendship they have, alright. So when I went there, I said, look here, I benefits a lot in different ways. I know Ken Soon because of his friendship with my Prime Minister. Why I have to say that? Because we want to talk about Madani. Because otherwise you cannot, because this Madani is not something Anwar said when he became Prime Minister. The first word Madani was uttered as early as 1995. As early as that. Why? He went to Istiqlal Mosque in Indonesia at that time. He said, look, at that time was even before he wrote Asian Renaissance. That's another topic where we can talk about in the bigger subject. Before he talked about Asian Renaissance in 1997, when he was already Finance Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, to give some indication, I have different idea about development when this region was enjoying Asian miracles. But he has the agitation, he has the courage, honesty to say, I have different idea. And have different views with his boss. It's not easy, you know. Not easy.
His boss is Mahathir.
Can I say that? His boss is Mahathir. Alright. So, he said Madani, but in different context. He said about Masyarakat Madani, the Madani society. You listen carefully. In 1995, he talked about Masyarakat Madani, at that time he was talking about the society. But now, in 2023, now he's already become Prime Minister, 9 months. He was talking about Negara Madani, Madani state. Two different equations. Why is different? Because Masyarakat society doesn't produce public policy. Where did I learn this? LKY Public Policy School. So he is talking about Negara Madani, a state, a Madani state. Okay. And the best part is this. He was saying that even before he became a Prime Minister, he released the vision 2 weeks before he became Prime Minister. And many leaders of the world, as far as I know, they only talk about their vision after they become Prime Minister. That's why I was telling everyone, only a leader with certain level of courage, confidence, want their idea to be evaluated and cornered and criticized, even before they become Prime Minister. For me, that's something that I think worth for us to discuss. Because nowadays, that's why I was telling my past friend, let's say for the sake of argument, you want to talk about your Negara Islam, the Islamic State, but you not even put it in writing. Who knows, maybe your Sharia can reduce crime more than any other common law. Let's talk about as an XY law, don't call it Sharia. You just go for what law which can effectively deliver the public goods. What is public goods? It can be security, it can be crime prevention, it can be poverty eradication. But don't be so I call it parochial about it. Let's go for something, but it was not done in that manner. There's no leader in this region or in the world, as far as I know, so far, maybe somewhere in the history, that even have confidence to come up with their vision. This is my vision. Please, if you like, you vote for me. If you don't like, you can vote me out. Alright. So, hence, we are lucky, and he's lucky, maybe, he was elected. But one thing I have to be humble, for the first time ever in the history of Malaysia, no single party can claim they have a strong majority. So that's another important thing to talk about. Why I say so? Because the last 60 years, history of Malaysia can be developmental, it can be economic, it can be social. I cannot use that as my case study because I'm living now is totally different.
Yeah, Yusmadi,
Yeah, sorry.
can we talk about politics
Separately,
a little later?
I go Madani straight
Right
away.
now,
All right.
explain what
What
is
is Madani?
Madani.
All right. So now you have the context because otherwise, people always ask me, is it something new? No, it's not new. All right. Under the new Madani that Anwar said, look here. He said, look here. Madani at least must have 6 core pillars. Number 1, you must talk about sustainability. Number 2, he is talking about care and compassion. Number 3, he is talking about respect. He's talking about innovation. And he's talking about prosperity. And lastly, he's talking about trust. So I can say this with full of conviction because I'm the guy who, among others, apart from his lawyer, I carry books to him when he was in prison. So all the idea was espoused as early as 1935. So he had more time to think about it, to internalize it when he was in prison. So, number 1, let's talk about sustainability. People may think that he is talking about the SDG, United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. No. That is what you are talking about, taking care only of the environment. Anwar is talking about man and nature. How also to be a balanced man. Because he believed in moderations. Of course, the word is wasatiyah in Arabic. Wasatiyah means human being also have to be balanced. That's why Mahathir said why he become a very long life, because he said, I stop when I feel like the food is too good. Of course, in simply put, is about also moderation. How to be a moderate man. So Anwar idea of but in Malay, Anwar didn't use the word lestari. He used mapan. Mapan means something else. Mapan means also balanced man. Not only about the environment. So where all these ideas come from? One of big scholar who wrote about it called Syed Hussein Nasar. Who is Syed Hussein Nasar? Look for this name. Syed Hussein Nasar is a MIT, Harvard, Islamic philosopher. In fact, a leading philosopher now. Now he's at Georgetown University. Anwar started to know him when he was at Temple University, when he and his best friend, another our common professor, clique called Professor Osman Bakar. So that's where everything started. Alright, this is not something that Anwar plucked somewhere. He learned, he absorbed it, he internalized it, and he also said, look here, Malaysia, after went through the era of, in the words of him, he called it democracy of consumption. Everyone become consumer. So we maybe have to talk about production, but how we produce that, there's another level, another session we can talk about. Right. Number 2, he talked about care and compassion. Because for him, and I concur it, because I'm also a man of diplomacy at international level, somehow the word compassion is somewhat missing in the international relation. People sometimes tend to be very legalistic. Sometimes when you see a refugee, you see them with a very, I would say, bitterness. So when you see with the eyes of compassion, you see things differently. Because some people, sometimes they come to your country because many reasons. Sometimes there was a persecution, it can be the hardship in their own life, because everyone have their own trajectory. So he talked about care and compassion. You must feel compassion. Is that something new? No. Even apart from legal, you must have ihsan. You must also feel compassion to others. It's not only about black and white, black letters law. You have to go a step further. And he talked about respect. I give for example now, for a country like Malaysia, multi-religious, multicultural, if you don't instill respect in the full of understanding, it's not easy. And respect can only come after you understand. So respect, let's say now I respect you because I hope I start to understand, what are actually the challenges, the differences. So for me, that's why he's promoting respect. And he's talking about innovation. Why he talk about innovation? Because we are dealing in a post-normal world. There's so many new things. So you need to innovate. You have to have new ideas. Okay. Lastly, of course, he was talking about trust. Very important. You can talk about cybersecurity. You can talk about new IoT. You can talk about so many. And bottom line is about trust. So for me, in a nutshell, that's what is Madani six pillar. But in my own words, what is Madani? Anwar tried to instill values, ethics into global order. And he said that when he was in United Nations recently. He has the courage to talk about Madani vis-a-vis the plight of people in Palestine, the dispossession of land. He talked about also Madani in the context of geopolitical, how you cannot be forced to take side because you need. He also talked about Madani in the context of inequality, how the world becomes so unequal. So for me, I cannot say the best person to tell what's Madani, but from my understanding, that's what Madani.
Okay, so this is
okay?
yeah. So this is the point at which we can go into politics.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to ask you this question about how is the Madani concept being absorbed or taken in by the rural Malays, by the so-called green wave. How does it happen?
Okay, if I were to simply evaluate based on election result, of course we are not doing quite well. Yes, we won Johor. Yes, we won 3 progressive states, Selangor, Pulau Pinang, Negeri Sembilan. These are all the richest states. But I have the humility to say, on the ground, the very ideals of Madani is not well being, I call it Melayu panggil merakyat, is not well being democratized at the grassroots level. But for me, if can just simply be done in 9 months, I think the idea is not that big idea. It's just another situational idea. Because the idea has some normative, underlying philosophical idea. Because in my orientation of development, quick fix is always oxymoron. When that is why I learned somewhere in Palo Alto. They taught me quick fix is oxymoron. So for me, when the idea is organically taking time, for people to embrace, that's why I think we start getting good results slowly. Why I say so? For example, is this. From economic point of view, the day that Anwar announced about Madani, to my surprise, Malaysia now start getting unprecedented FDI attraction. To my surprise, in 9 months, if you check our MITI, our Ministry of International Trade and Investment, doing very, very well. But of course, the challenge now, back to my first point, there is no case study for the last 60 years. We have no experience managing 300 billion FDI coming at the same time. We don't have that competency yet. That's maybe we need to learn from Singapore. That's why I know it's not joking. He meant it. We have to learn from each other. Maybe, So, okay, right. Number 2, I have to say with objectivity, the so-called green wave that Kinsun was saying, maybe you're all familiar with that, but I say it's not even green wave. It's not even green wave. It's just, how to put it? The lopsidedness on our side. For a party or movement who went through cycle for more than 35 years, we become a lame duck. Lame duck, I'm telling you. There's no capacity building. The way we started last time, we started from zero. A lot of capacity building, a lot of training, a lot of so many things in between in order to make us what we are today. But the day that we become government, there are some people become too complacent. At all levels, I'm telling you, why I can win in 2008 when I have no resources. Why I can win at that time where we just another small party. Because we, in the words of the late Goh Cheng Teck, a smart guy from, Goh Cheng Teck, another smart guy who was a former MP. He came one day, he called me, Yusmadi, I'm worried about your party. I said, why? Yeah, you are no more sexy. I said, why? No more sexy. When you started your reformasi movement last time, you are so hungry for justice. That's why it reminds me when I started my gerakan, the first attempt to reject communal politics. He and another smart, Hussein Alatas, Wang Gang. This outside said, you know what? For me, he see from back, which I agree. Because some friends of mine, they thought to be a good leader, sometimes when they thought you need a lot of money. No, leadership is something else. The day you are no more inspiring, the day you are no more hungry for justice, the day you are no more agitating for people plight, I think you are not doing your good job as a leader. So I think it's not about that green wave. That's number one. Number two, I have to admit, reformasi now go through another level of phases. How to put meaning into the reform. Last time, I was telling them, they asked me, Yusmadi, why didn't join Prime Minister office? I was casually joking. I said, you know, my only experience in Kensun to change government. My expertise to change government. I can say this in Singapore. Can sorry, but I say in contact Malaysia. It's not for whoever police special branch. I say in contact of Malaysia. I'm the expert of changing government. Wendy, don't learn from me, Okay.
You better teach us how.
So what I'm trying to say, I joke to them. I say, look, we're full of objectivity. My only experience to change government. I've not experience to build government. But I meant seriously that we need to build new case study. We don't feel so pompous that we have the solution. That's why I told my friend in Prime Minister office, learn, come back, take one step backwards. Now reformasi, you have to reform, you have to deliver, you have to govern. It's no more like last 25 years. You just dismantle, you know. As a lawyer, it's easy to be defense counsel. Sometimes it's difficult to be prosecutor, to build a case. To defend, you stay in one brick, to cast doubt. So with full objectivity, I didn't believe it's a green wave. All right. For me, it's just lopsidedness on our side. We need to learn fast and also to tell ourselves, look here, we need different kind of generation to deliver public goods to Malaysia. All right. Last point is this. Last is which I think it is the outcome of our own greatness, our own good work. Why I say so? Malaysia, we started with pre-independent, then we developed the country, Tun Razak, you are talking about Tun Razak, great days. Then after that, Mahathir and Hussein on, especially Mahathir, modernized the country. What's happening now? I'm facing the access of modernized Malaysia, the product of privatization, the product of the over Malaysia incorporation. The access of that, that's the issue of inequality. The access, the issue of sustainability. The access of that, the issue of human rights. This is not our own creation. It is a product happened because of the attempt to modernize Malaysia. That's normal. So for me, if I thought reformasi is only to talk about freedom of speech, to talk about freedom of association, I think the new challenge is what Kingston being exposed me. Property law is about planning law, is about the dichotomy urban and rural. You are talking about we need new discourse in politics. It's no more about so-called liberal or illiberal democracy. It's more than that. So I think my party or my movement, at least for me, maybe some other guy they don't accept that. I accept that. I have humility to accept. We are not exposed. We are not trained to do that. The only person that have that experience is Anwar Ibrahim. But Anwar is here. We are young generation is here. So for me, I'm also thinking Malaysia beyond Anwar Ibrahim now. Because Anwar have to wait for more than 25 years. That's why today he's like Ayrton Senna at the last lap. He was so, I would say, in a rush. Just to share you, I'll give you facts. His schedule in New York the other day was 11 programs in a day. From Council of Foreign Relations to the UNGA big speech, in between with Christine Amampo, in between with all the scholars, and also to give khutbah, the Friday sermon. Can you imagine? Then in between to create joke with the Malaysian diaspora. Can you imagine if he doesn't have good support system? But maybe, my assumption, that generation, they may have different training. That's what I was telling Wendy sometime. I don't be so proud that we are young, the reformasi guy, no. When I check the founding father, Jose Rizal, even your LKY, whoever started this country, I think that they went through tougher situation and they crack their head, they just face it, they formulate their own ideas. In other words, there's no playbook. So for me, I think, to answer you again soon, for me, I dismiss the idea of green wave. It's just lopsidedness on our side.
Okay guys, any questions? Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, thanks for coming and sharing with us. I'm a keen observer of Malaysian politics today, and you look at the past movement in all the green states itself. What are the chances for Anwar to, modernize, the country with, this large Islamic influence that it's, taking a lot of the eastern states?
Very good. What was your name? Juan. Your conversation must know friend ma, my new friend ma. Alright. Okay, if you ask me, is it something new for Anwar? No. As what you said, Anwar been trying hard since he was young. He set up ABIM. What is ABIM? ABIM Islamic movement. Is Anwar foreign to any Islamic initiative? No, he been doing that since he was young. Whether he succeed, yeah, there are part. He was very successful. ABIM become one of the strongest movement to the extent Tun Razak invited him to join government, and of course Mahathir more successful. He joined, and whether he at that time, for those who I would say partly understand Anwar, they say Anwar was trying to Islamize the country, and he was doing very, very well. The Islamic Bank, Islamic University, to the extent at one point, they are talking about who more Islamic, the PAS or UMNO at that time. But now, we are talking about now, Anwar as a prime, is he going to be successful? I think he's going to be successful in different way. He start to understand now what kind of the idea of Islam, what kind of developmental of Islam that truly benefits the people of Malaysia. Is it the old UMNO model approach, or the past model approach, or actually that what he espoused to be now, the Madani, the moderation, the inclusive approach, the cosmopolitan approach, because you use the word modernity. So for me, Anwar understand that. But what is the challenge? The challenge now, especially the north side of Malaysia, Kedah, Perlis, east side, Kelantan, Terengganu. Is it something new? No. For those who know the history of Malaysia, this is not a new challenge. Kelantan became the Serambi of Mecca years back. And recently me and Professor Osman Bakar tried to dig a new history. How the guy from Yunnan, a Muslim from China, brought Islam through Kelantan. This is a new narrative. We're going to do it soon. I invite you all. Soon we're going to be a big conference on Islam and Confucianism. Because we want to say, the idea of modernity, whatever we learn, not only come from the Arab, the Yemenites, no. It may come from that part of the world as well. Everyone contribute. So the idea of modernity that what you say must be put in context. What is we meant when we say modernity? Because that is a big subject. If you meant modernity, it's just another Anglo-Saxon, just another Washington consensus, the way I was taught when I was in DC, may not necessarily true. Because all this order, somehow now, are not delivering their public goods, the left or the right. So I agree with you just now. Is it challenging? But Anwar become wiser, and the plus point is this. I have to say this. The plus point, this for the first time in his trajectory of his life, is going to do it as a prime minister, where the government, the support system. I don't use the word government machinery. I use the support system more on his side. The only challenge is one for me. I pray for his health. I pray for his health basically. I'm more worried about that, because he went through hell. He was whacked almost death. He was in prison. Sometimes in life, when you are being, defamed, sometimes your psychological disturbance. I'm more worried about that. If we pray for him with good health, with peaceful mind, I think he become wiser now. So I answer is challenging, but I think we can do it, inshallah.
Yeah. I'm Alfred. I don't know whether you're aware, but there's a movie about Anwar Ibrahim showing right now in Singapore. It was done by a Malaysian director. Script was by them. So opening scenes of that movie was Anwar in the Bukit Anda prison was whacked by the police. So if you have not watched it, then you can't tell whether it's authentic or not lah. Okay, so put that question aside. Second question. Sabah and Sarawak. In my understanding, the politics in East Malaysia is very different from West Malaysia. So could you talk a little bit about the politics in Sabah and Sarawak?
Accidentally, what's your name? Alfred. Okay, accidentally, Alfred. I'm the guy behind the movie. I prepare the financial argument, I prepare everything, okay? I give you not only that movie, the Anwar Untold Story was produced by the production from Indonesia. Go for another one, much earlier. I did it in 2008 when I was at Palo Alto. The movie called A Whisper to a Roar. I already brought Anwar to Hollywood. And the movie was produced by Ben Moses, the Good Morning Vietnam guy. So I traveled with him in the region. So it started from the book called The Spirit of Democracy, written by Larry Diamond, the political scientist from Stanford. You living? Cannot be, because otherwise it will gender imbalance. Oh, sorry. Hey, keep in touch. Good luck in whatever you're doing. All right. So why I said so, because at that time, the Anwar is already there. People try to understand why Anwar struggle for democracy. Why Anwar become the voice of democracy in this region. You see that movie. It's a theatrical documentary. Okay. Anwar the Untold Story. What the underlying message? Only one. About corruption. Okay, that movie, I'm telling you now, so I'm simplifying everything, is about corruption. How to say that someone tried to fight corruption when he was holding power. Mostly people fight corruption when you're outside the government. Whether you're former judges or former public service, that's easier. It's tougher when you are in the government, what more as a finance minister, what more you are eyeing to be the number one. But yet, when you are given 1 month opportunity to be acting prime minister, what you did was something threatening to your future position. By right, you should play back, do whatever the power that be like. But 1 month, he tried to strengthen the corruption law, anti-corruption law. So for me, it's something. Okay. Number two, in that movie, I have to tell you the history behind it. Can you imagine? One good day, one top film producer from Indonesia said he contacted a friend of mine, Zuna, was top cartoonist. You may not look for this name, Zuna cartoonist. She said she looked for an icon globally or in this region that can be an icon for corruption. She surveyed around and she find Anwar. Not because of we want it. And the best part is this, brother. She had the courage to shoot the film even while we are in opposition. And of course, for you spend money, you spend your time, and you don't know the future of the film. But sometimes, that's why I'm giving you another key point here. When you believe something right, just do it. Can you imagine? The film came just the right time. We were campaigning, and Anwar become prime minister. He get Anwar it for the premiere of the film, and now the film now in Netflix, and now it become the leading film almost every week. So sometimes you do what you believe. So that's okay. Last question was about East Malaysia. I was telling you, Yusmadi is not a Penang name. My father was an army in Sabah. He chose to die in Sabah. That's why when I give speeches in Sabah, Sarawak, I say I'm not outsider. That is important because they always say, look, you're outsider, you're the peninsula guy, you don't understand Sabah Sarawak politics, which is true. Let's say I talk about reformasi. For them, it's not relevant. One chap said to me, what reformasi? We talk about belacan lah. We talk about something on the table lah. I'm seriously, they can record me. I was giving speeches in Miri. I went to Marudi. Marudi, you are talking about close to Baram. When I'm taking the sampan, next to me is a crocodile. Can you imagine? Reformasi went through hell for the last 20 years. I went through all the way inside, and Najib went with helicopter. If we just, I would say, Anwar used this word, we just not just another crazy guy, we just stop our struggle. Can you make 2004? We only have 1 seat after Balawi become. I was in US, Anwar said to me, bro, Yusmadi, where are you from? Balik Pulau. Go back, we deny them to third majority. I said, no way, we can do it, boss. We only have 1 seat. At that time, in 2004, and I was one of the election petition lawyer with the late Christopher Fernando. We defeated Tan Sri Shafi, we won in Penang. But I said to you, sometimes leader may have different level of clarity. Anwar may have different level of bird eye view. Oh, you ask any analyst, no way we can deny them to third majority in 2008. All right. to say that we understand Sabah Sarawak, but I think today, when they start talking about MA63, who started to talk about MA63? The Malaysian Agreement? We. Who start talking about the autonomy? That part of the Sabah Sarawak deserve to have their own autonomy? We. Who started to talk about to celebrate Hari Malaysia? Not only 31st August 1957, 16 September of 1960. We. So I think to say that we don't really understand that, but no, we understand it. In fact, we believe it, we did it, and we've been pushing until today. And we are the one who even under Anwar leadership created the first deputy prime minister from Borneo, from Sabah Sarawak. To say that and now today Anwar did something unprecedented. Twice he get the premier of Sarawak, Abang Jo, to give briefing in the cabinet meeting. And Abang Jo was so proud to say, you know what? Anwar gave me 2 opportunities to teach. He used the word to teach the Peninsular people about politics. So sometimes people thought that we don't understand when you allow people to talk. Those who give space, actually they didn't understand. Kin Soon understand more Malaysian politics, that's why he gives space to me. That's why. So that's not, I'm joking. I'm telling you, we understand in different way because we believe, you know why? For me, they deserve it. That's why Anwar used the word. We're not here to negotiate. We're here to fulfill our promise. What was already been negotiated by the founding father. Because otherwise there's no Malaysia. So that's why today you'll be surprised. Anwar always said Sarawak now being very, very well. So I said jokingly now, I want to say openly now to my Singaporean friend here. If you're looking at investment, if you're looking at sustainability, I can tell you, if anyone from the corporate world here, from political risk point of view, that part of the world is more stable. Their politics more stable. I have to say I learn a lot from them. They're wiser, how they manage their people there. Number 2, from scientific point of view, there's no disease there. If you want to do food security or livestock, good for Singapore lah, for your future food security venture. Go that part of the world. Alright? So what we say that? I'm not here parochial. I'm not, even though I'm from Penang, I don't only promote Peninsula. No, I want them to succeed. Because their success is our success. Am I right? Alright. So I hope I've answered your question. Alright.
I think that many Singaporeans are dying to know what is the Malaysian attitude towards Singapore now.
Now, let's be more specific. Now meaning under Anwar leadership. Can I say that? Alright. That is very important. Not to say that I say it. Go for the facts. What Anwar did upon his release, truly release after being pardoned, not the 2004. And I said recently to the ambassador of Singapore here, and I said it here as well. Anwar came to Singapore more often than any other places. Of course, by invitation. He was in your Milken Institute, he was at SMU, Kok Peng, the Parliamentary founder interviewed him, he was with your Prime Minister. And I said that with full of conviction, because I feel that experience as well when I was at LKY school. People truly want to understand. And I said jokingly, apart from Ken Soon, another leader who understands Anwar, now he's alive, is Joshua. Can I say that? Why I say so? Because there are also senior leader asked me, why Anwar Ibrahim said this when he was in New York? He quoting Shakespeare. When he was here in Middle East, in this part of the world, he's quoting Yusuf Al-Qardawi. He's quoting Muhammad Nasir. He's quoting Hamka. Then I said to that senior leader, who happened to be my professor when I was at LKY, he's a very senior guy, you know, I don't want to mention it, because that's not important, but important is conversation. I said to him, be fair to Anwar. Number 1, when he said that, he said Yusmadi 2007, we went back to Malaysia, we we introduced new economic vision called new economic agenda for Malaysia. Is no more based on race, but based on needs. We put in writing, we promote it, we argue it, we campaign it, but that was not being acknowledged. by the guy who asked me the question, despite he's a professor. They said, no, you look to that, be fair to Anwar. You think it's easy for a Malay guy like Anwar to go to politics, to quote unquote, to engage with NEP? It's not easy. It's so convenient for him not to talk about it. But he said it, I meant it. So I did ask Anwar, the boss, are you sure it's a political suicidal? If you talk about, you go against, quote unquote. Yusmadi, when I say I meant it, Malaysia need to be built with a new foundation based on just and fairness. That's why when he talked about ihsan, he talked about care, compassion, he meant it. Is it easy? It's not easy, because last 20, 60 years, different kind of foundational, political foundation been built. That's why it cost him jail. I'm telling you, in reform, to cause change, brother, it will cost you jail. So that's number one. Number two, when Mahathir said in his book, Doctor in the House, did you read his book? There are three things that shocked him, surprised him. Number one, he said Anwar going to fail the day Anwar was sacked and left UMNO. But what Anwar did, he managed to even create a movement, and now God, High Justice love him, we even become government. That's number one. Number two, he said Anwar going to fail the day that he going to build a multiracial politics. No, now my party, Justice Party, become a leading anchor party. Is that easy? It's not easy, but it's happening, and it happened. Number three, what he surprised about Anwar, he always believed that in Malaysia, a Malay, orang Melayu, Mahathir, with due respect, in one hand he say we fight for the Malays. I have to say categorically, not because I try to please my Singaporean audience. I want to say categorically, a responsible leader, he built a country for the future generation to continue, not to make the future generation become helpless when they're not around. When I say that, a responsible leader, they build institution. In simply put, they make sure the judiciary, they make sure the civil society, they make sure the public service, they make sure the private sectors to remain intact, better and better. But what happened to Malaysia after Mahathir left? Every institution can be questioned. And of course, I can say that we're full of conviction because I was a lawyer in the VK Kingdom, correct, the videotape royal inquiry. How at that time judiciary was so scandalous. I know we're full of conviction. So then we saw more bizarre example after we changed government, one by one. You see how the public service, how the head of, we call it, here we may call under secretary, yeah? Is it something like that? Yeah? You are talking about we have to start everything again. Sometimes we have to be fair to Anwar, Okay, you need to deliver something for the people. Of course, the main delivery unit is public service. But I'm happy to say there are many good potential people which somehow not be given a chance. I hope through our leadership now, it's not easy because you are talking about you need to reform the salary. You are talking about even the promotion scheme, everything. And in what more in business, you may know because we are nearby. You think it's easy to do business in Malaysia? You not belong to certain quote unquote circle of network. It's not easy. But in between, I think Anwar get it right. Number one, recently, what did he do? Anwar even try to talk about something which is unpopular. Number one, he talked about salary. Of course, you are talking about Rafizi, young rookie guy. But sometimes you need a young rookie guy to be more courageous. If you take someone who quote unquote, so rational, don't we talk about reforming the salary? He did that. And of course, we are talking about, look here, we need also to be so objective to help even Kelantan. Until today Kelantan is not having fresh water. Yeah, I mean, for me, if you meant your politics about helping the poor, just because they're not supporting you, but Anwar give more money to Kelantan, Anwar give more money to Kedah, Anwar give more money to Terengganu. What does it mean? He walk his talk about care and compassion. By right, he should play politics, like the way Mahathir did. Your royal oil now Wang Ihsan. Wang Ihsan means at my discretion, not offer as of right. All right. Thirdly, when Anwar said he try, I have to say, I hope he succeed. Multiracial politics, I give for example. People are saying, look here, certain position, only certain race. These are so-called the common belief all this while. Certain portfolio, only certain people. I don't want to be too specific because you may know. Observe that. And hopefully today, one news was talking about cabinet reshuffle. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I hope if it happens, something for you to look closely, whether Anwar really meant it or not. So of course, when people say, what about meritocracy? Is the right way to introduce? Yeah, it works for Singapore. I'm telling you, it works. But I'm also reading a book called The Tyranny of Meritocracy. Sometimes there are certain pockets of the world, meritocracy doesn't build a good developmental model as well. Sometimes, not all the time. But based on Michael Sandler research, meritocracy built different kind of monster. The guy who doesn't have empathy, the guy who doesn't care, doesn't have compassion. But of course, we learn from each other success. Something good, that's what I was telling just now, was saying what is the future relationship Malaysia and Singapore. I want to end with that. I think the future relationship between Malaysia and Singapore are going to be more fruitful, more humane, more collaborative. I want to say what else?
More humor.
More humor. No, I'm saying, you know why? It has to be real. Because why I was jokingly just now, I was telling, look here, this Friday conversation has to be global. But let's start between friends, neighbors. If you cannot even talk to your neighbors, you know the way I was taught in kampung, something I want our relationship built in this, or at this foundation. You know, in Islam, if you are my neighbor, what's your name again? Quick. If you are my neighbor, I cook something nice. It goes to your house, you smell it. It is obligation for me to give some for you. Who's Malay? Who's Muslim here? Muslim? Am I right? Betul kan? Alright, that's number one. Number two, someone was asking to me, what about the security between Malaysia and Singapore? Let's be more serious about it. The way I was taught in Balik Pulau, if you take care of your paddy field, you only take care of your square, the rats may come from different corner. So it's not enough only to take care of your square. So if that principle been instilled to create our conversation again more meaningful, you know what I'm talking about. For Malaysia to be secured, for Singapore to be secured, we have to be a good neighbors. We have to take care. Number one. Number three, I was telling about him. Historically, the Selat Teberau is just another river lah. It's just another sungai lah. What's the philosophy there? They said bagai aur dengan tebing. The tebing is the river bank. Aur is the bamboo root. The roots they make the bank become stronger, so that the aur, the river line, can become tenang. So what I'm trying to say is this. Then how you go to another level? Okay, now I'm suggesting, I'm thinking here, whoever attended here, in their own capacity. Not everyone can be professors like Kensun. I don't know why he's an architecture professor, I don't know. And now at this age, he's still talking about this. For me, it's about, listen carefully, when Malay friend, you help them. Bulat air kerana pembentung. Water can become kelis, rounded, because of pembentung. Pembentung pipe, but I'm not offering pipe, I'm offering bamboo. Water can become kelis and rounded if go through bamboo. Why bamboo? Very strong. You can walk your talk if you muafakat. In Sumatra they call mufakat. Melayu call muafakat. The guy with the Arabic tradition they call muafakoh. And that book was written in Tunisia by Ibn Khaldun, where that because Tunisia, where they have one of the oldest university in the world called Zaytuna, that's where the first magnum opus called Muwafakat was written by Al-Shatibi, later by Ibn Khaldun. And when I was there, then I understand. That is the first ever the confluence of Europe and Asia. But here in this part of the world, when the British tried to call Middle East, we don't buy. We call West Asia. We call East Asia. Can you imagine? The map is like this. Suddenly the water from the west come here, the water from the east come here, go through the peninsula, and it stop where, you know? It stop in Singapore. So you get the best. And can you imagine your LKY, whoever your future generation of leader, let build them, become so competent like the bamboo, where any water go through the bamboo, the pipe becomes so strong. And the best part is this, the bamboo not even try to convert anyone to be air teh tarik, no. If you go through there as a air swab lah. That's your choice. We respect their freedom, we respect their privacy. So for me, I said, if we build a muafakat, of course sensitive to say Nusantara here, because some people see Nanyang. But I say it can be Nanyang, it can be Nusantara, but it's about muafakat. That's the wisdom that make this region tactful, brother. I was in Europe, I was in Beijing, I was in Ukraine, I was in Georgia. The most stable region is this region. What? There must be something right that the founding father or his generation or my generation been doing all this while. Despite the challenges, people say we are differences, no interference, you talk about consensus, but for me, muafakat is not consensus. The closest English word is accord. The closest. Muafakat, not even cooperation. For me, in my own work, what is muafakat? A collaboration of the core competence for the bigger agenda, which is beyond you, beyond me. If that agenda is about to make this place secure, if that agenda to make this place prosper, if that agenda to make this place meaningful, humorous, is beyond us. But that is for me muafakat. So my aim now, with your support, I want to introduce the word muafakat to Oxford Dictionary, because there's no English word can explain what is muafakat, but it's happening in this region. Like the way they import our word amok. Amok is a Malay word, but just to explain the commotion of the East, which is not happening in the West, they have to import the word amok. So I said, for you to understand how people here collaborate, how people work each other, how we agree on something, they have to learn what is muafakat. So that is my closing remark. So I think, Yensun, I have to say this. I want to propose. Otherwise, my visit here is not meaningful. This Friday conversation has to make it regional, and let's start with Malaysia and Singapore. Let's build a new friendship. For me, don't too preconceive. Muafakat is not about to have preconceived. Muafakat is about to have a genuine interaction from here to here, then interact to here, and the third part it comes to here. The day we become brothers and sisters like this, I know Kensun, I can argue with him. He knows that in no way I'll be Malaysian with him. He's my brother.
You gotta hantar him to Malaysia.
Should, But he said that no project in Singapore, he only take project in Nusantara. That's why architect called architect Tenggara.
So the Chinese conversation should
Sorry.
go over to Malaysia. He has a question.
Okay, anyone to question? Alright, okay.
I'm very heartened to hear what you say about Malaysian Ossings, and you're one of the upcoming lieutenants, or now is ready. What I'm very concerned with is what's going to happen after this government. Are you going to? Do you think that you'll stand a chance of being the next government again?
Good question. Thank you for saying that. That's why in my initial explanation, remember I said this? I even thinking beyond Anwar Ibrahim. Why I say so? We only get chance to do what we want to do after 25 years. And the only experienced guy with man of wisdom is Anwar at this level. Something good I learned here, which I would like to replicate down there, how you build your generation from the first generation, second, third generation to the now fifth generation, your Gen 5. Am I right? And the way I see it is something that I need to learn. How you do the capacity building. I agree with you. Based on what we have now, if we are not working hard enough to have that capacity building, I can simply say the future may not necessarily be the same. Why? I saw it when I was in Tunisia. I saw that what happened in Zimbabwe. when, I don't like to use the word regime, it can be negative. A new government coming, they didn't realize that they need different kind of temperament, they need different kind of competency, they need different kind of tendency. They underestimate it. I saw that in Zimbabwe, the Mugabe Zanu party coming back. And what happened to them now? They have to start from zero again. I was in Tunisia. Whoever want to cause change, they almost give up. Almost. I think I was there. So with a group, my Stanford group friend, we said, no, you have to do again. But then, it demands different level of wisdom. That's why when someone was asking me, they're stepping in the office, why Anwar still have to collaborate with UMNO? Of course, you ask anyone. It's not the right thing to do. But I learned something new. The power of incumbency. I give for example, when Muhammad Sabu, our Muhammad Sabu, the humorous politician, when someone said, why you bring Mahathir in? Muhammad Sabu said jokingly, but it meant a lot. You know, if we go to Palace, we go to Putrajaya, we don't even know where's the door, where's the key. Yeah. But if you think deeper, what does it mean? There's multi-layer politics. You need to understand many important stakeholders. We as a reformist, who are we? I'm telling you, Yusmadi, Rafizi, Nik Nazmi, Puro Izzah. We are just a street boy. He went to my village. We are commoners. We not even belong to the feudal aristocrat. But it's important to understand. That's why, thank you. That was a very, very, very important question. But if you ask me, I want to strive, I want to work harder. But yet, I'm telling you, don't praise me so much. I'm a bad politician. That's why I become former politician. My mistake was to bring Kensu to talk about urbanization. No one understand. But how to balance that? And Anwar Madani, I'm giving you historical look for this book called Al-Farabi. Okay? Al-Farabi wrote a book about Madani. The first philosopher talked about Madani. In Madani, there are two kinds of leader. One, this is important. They call it Imam philosopher. Imam philosopher. One thing you want to be Imam. You know, in life, sometimes your ustaz, your imam is more influential, you know, in our society. But at the same time, you want to philosophize. You know, that's why mana the leader was talking about Asian Renaissance. Leader was talking about Tagore, talking about Nolim Tengere. Anwar talk about it. Another leader, they call it Imam legislator. Just another legislator. So the question is that, what kind of leadership model if you want to talk about Madani? That either be talking about centuries back. So for me, it's a time to crack our head, to envision again. Don't be complacent. I believe this region, out of 7 to 8 billion population, 600 million in this part of the world, I still convinced this region going to be the most interesting place, and especially going to be more important. Okay, this I'm challenging you. Let's do it together. The only place in the world where major civilizations are interacting, the Muslim, the Chinese, the Indian, the European, is a keyword. In the mainstream of social interaction, the mainstream, not fringe, where, you know, Malaysia and Singapore. The total effect of this interaction, you know what will happen? We're going to create a new idea of development, but the idea of modernity. And that will be the greatest contribution to the global dialogue. In my own words, I call it new modern Asian civilization. So it's not enough architect, it's not enough. We need philosopher, we need good administrator, we need businessman. We need to create this region to be a new center. And I think Anwar can do that, because I'm trying to convince you. After the LKY generation, you know, I have to say, the LKY managed to put our map the only guys now who can cross the globe from east to the west, to Muslim, non-Muslim world. This is the keyword. Being given trust, being given stage, is Anwar Ibrahim. The only guy now. So use that. Don't see Anwar, for me, I humble tell you, just see him as our brother, our friend, that we do for this region. That's what his message to most of his friends here. So brother, thank you for a very good question.
The other guy that can do that is George Yeo from Singapore.
Let's collaborate.
So George Yeo and Anwar must get together. How can we arrange that?
Okay, I ask the audience, is your view. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
See.
Okay, how to do it?
Wah, this is betul lah. Wah, let's do something lah. No?
George, you first lah.
I thought Joseph was going to be the next president, but I congratulate you, your new president. Another smart guy. Yeah. I learned a lot from your president.
So Tharman, Anwar, and George Yu.
Yeah, you have Malay, you have Indian, you have Chinese.
And Jokowi. Can we imagine this? Can we imagine this conversation?
Yeah, Jokowi from Indonesia, who lead, you know, from Aceh to Sabah is longer than from Florida to New York. It's big.
One step at a time. George, you and Anwar first. One step at a time.
Okay, that is something now
Yeah,
we
but
are.
on the issue of leadership and also the growth of new people. I just have to ask you this question. When Malaysia reduced the voting age to 18, what did the latent year-olds, who did they vote for? What is your reading?
This is also another important question. Actually, to answer your green wave, to answer certain uncertainty on the ground, this is actually one of the key things. Okay. When I was senator, after they completed the vote in the lower house, they brought to the upper house. I did ask our Youth Council of Malaysia, Majesty, why Majlis is important. This is the umbrella organisation of the youth. It's not just another NGO. They even older than Malaysian government. Majlis Belia was established 1948. Okay? Our government 1957. And you know who's the first president? Not even a Malay. He's an Indian guy. See, you don't know. Look about this story. The first president of Malaysian Youth Council is an Indian guy. Another bizarre fact. The first speaker of Sarawak is an Indian guy. That's how we started, no? Alright. That's why when we say, oh, Lee Kuan, finance minister. Our first finance minister to HS Lee lah. The Chinese guy lah. Why now become big issue? By comparison. When the issue was brought to the Senate, I did ask the Majlis Belia, did Sadiq engage you? Because in leadership, he asked this the question within the context leadership. One of the most difficult thing, painstaking that leader refuse to do is stakeholder management. Everyone want to bypass. You know, in anything you do, when there is no buy-in, what happens? Buy-in, meaning, let's say now, I just come here, it become authoritarian. Buy-in is very important. So I know, as a matter of fact, that engagement was bypassed because the minister Sadiq, I said it not because after he left my coalition, I said that the same. I disagree with that approach. Because why? We're not empowering them. We're not even build up the literacy. We're not engaging them. You just want them to be passenger. I want them to be a leader. That's why I joked to one friend of mine. They set up this one entity called Pemandu, delivery unit. I said after one MBB, I said I want to change you. Not Pemandu, penumpang. You become passenger. If you're Pemandu, you intercept. You cannot have that big problem. But you are only passenger, penumpang. So I want the youth nowadays, not only they become penumpang, they become blinded penumpang, and the driver bring them to something wrong, somewhere that mislead them. That's why today what happened, I don't want to say the way one of my senior ministers said. I don't want to say that also for me. You cannot just simply blame them. Oh, you say, oh, the youth in the rural, they don't know. I'm also from rural. We also smart people. Don't underestimate us. My mom teach me human rights before I learned in New York. My mom teach me how to respect others. I don't have to come to Washington DC to learn about human rights. That's why I'm telling you, what happened now, the only 18, which representing the big chunk of the vote bank, somehow not been properly engaged. Why? 2018 election, there where the thing started. Suddenly, if you're talking about uncertainty, there was serious uncertainty. We don't know. No one have that, I would say, proper study or proper report. That's number one. Number two, this is where I agree with him. The dichotomy between rural, the countryside, and the urban is huge. In Balik Pulau, I don't have access to Penang Free School. I don't have access to St. Xavier. I have access to a school called Sungai Korok. You laugh, Sungai Korok also you laugh.
See, a corrupt guy like me also can go to Stanford, can go to, you know what I'm saying? So it's a question how you dismantle that package. In his own words, you have to see things as equally important. So back to the Undi 18, Kensun, the Undi 18 guy in rural have different dynamic, different nuances. The Undi 18 guy in JB, the Undi 18 guy in Kuala Lumpur, they have different access. But the problem now is social media now. TikTok went across the board. TikTok was the guy more successful than me and Kensun. They dismantle rural and urban. They close the gap of literacy for right or wrong reason. And you know what? Who's the CEO of TikTok now?
Singapore.
You see, tell him, bring him in a dialogue. No, I'm telling you, this conversation has to be also about these people who influencing the world. And it so happened, they are from here. I'm telling you. So, I'm telling you to answer Vincent, no, at least from academic point of view, there's no center so-called Yusmadi in Malaysia. Number one, I'm telling you. Number two, I told you about how certain stakeholder engagement was not done with them. So my friends was so upset. He was the president of Youth Council. He said, Yusmadi, we know why. We are the NGO who talk to the youth on the ground. We know the real challenge. What you do? You just go to Parliament, you amend the constitution. You thought you solved the problem. No, it's not solving the problem. So I think I just simply I would say okay with this. No, I'm moving forward. Why am I moving forward? We are creating a new initiative among our youth, keadilan youth. Okay, you know the word muda, not necessarily muda. Muda, Anwar said, I may be 75, 76. Muda actually means you are young, you do something courageous, you are thinking something new. Muda not age. So some people thought muda is about age. That's why sometimes I think my reformasi time, and with Anwar as a reformist, we do more young thing rather than the muda thing. But I don't say that because of they are my enemy. No, they are my brothers. I want to bring them to the discourse again. So to answer you,
Mahathir is muda lah.
Mahathir muda. I'm telling you. Can you imagine how someone at the age of 98, LKY, I wish you, because they just celebrated 100 years now recently, yes? Because they saw another something achievement. Last few weeks, people are talking about 100 years of American here. Okay, I think this year must talk about 100 years of it. Okay, Mahathir, can you imagine? With one stroke, he get the 3 states. Now he's an advisor of all the 3 states. Can you imagine? I mean, if you are talking about, you talk about Sun Tzu, you talk about Bismarck, you talk about, in India, you talk about Chanakya. But in the modern world, we must study with the strategists now. Living strategists. I think Mahathir, I may disagree politically. What he has done, at least I'm facing him, master of strategies, politically.
I got a question. So, Mahathir to me is a has-been. Because in the general election, he lost Langkawi, his hometown. His home.
They lost their position.
Yeah, even the his son also. So I brushed, but Syed studied. Now I've been watching Syed for a long time, so I'm very impressed as a young man. But unfortunately, he didn't win the seat in the last election. So I'd like you to comment, like, what do you think his chances are for making a comeback? Should he join, PH, or should he continue in Buddha?
For me, is this. If I can say to my brother, where I say to my brother, after LKY school got me at the first Lee Kuan Senior Fellow, you know who's second? Syed Saddiq. Oh, see, we have to be grateful for your tax-paying money, Thank you. You put me in One Kilney Road. Nice, having nice place there. So he's the second after me. I'm the first cohort. Alright. What does it mean? Meaning you meant business. You really want to. We want to be friends. We want to talk to each other. Alright. If I was Syed Saddiq, is this: don't quickly join the power daddy. Behave the way LQI behave. What does it mean? Be with your friends. Crack your head. Engage the power daddy because you are young. Being young, you have to be radical. You have to be bold. His problem is that he left the school and then quickly joined Mahathir. That was a big mistake.
Yes.
For me, I'm telling you, he's my brother. close friend of my wife. They were debaters in the school with my wife together. So if I were to tell them, look, Cik Sadin, take this opportunity, especially now when Malaysia for the first time, no one can monopolize the power now. Time on your side, I'm not even being given the same opportunity you have. I've been struggling for the last 25 years, but you become my minister. Never mind, I'm not even that's your kita in life sometimes, success comes in different way. He's lucky. So he had the opportunity to manage resources, to be the minister, he had more experience. Even I said the same to Hari Jamaluddin. I say this, I sounds a bit Quranic and biblical lah. Prophet Muhammad, such a great guy. One good day he said, God, I pray for you. There are two guys by the name of Omar in Makkah. One Omar is Abu Lahab. One Omar, the Caliphate Omar, the most rascal guy. You said gangster, he's more gangster than anyone. He killed babies, he killed anyone. But Prophet Muhammad said, God, open heart. You know what? Omar was the nastiest, crazy guy. Joined Prophet Muhammad, struggled and become an asset, become a second caliph. So I now openly say to you, I'm praying for Qari Jamaluddin, I'm praying for him. Politically repentant, if you did something wrong for the people, if you believe what you did right, you continue, you learn in the process. Come, go back and do right for the people. Choose your own vehicle. Because why? I have to say, my party is also went through 25 years cycle. I have to say bluntly, some also behave like one established guy nowadays. They play golf more often than any other golfer. I'm telling you. But it's not wrong when you golfer. I'm thinking about sometimes, you need to get your priority right. When I talk like this because it's a conversation, it's not another seminar. Let's talk more like this lah. Kita minum kopi lah, sembang-sembang, betul tak? Because I don't believe sometimes in forum a lot of artificial discussion. Like this, we talk like friendly, sembang-sembang, betul tak? Alright. Any other? No more tough question. Friday night in Malaysia, you know what you're doing? You ask him, Friday night in Malaysia. Just enjoy lah. You talk about the serious stuff.
I'm not asking a question.
Okay.
I'm just making an observation on Malaysian political history. Half of history and half of politics. I go back to, bear with me for about 4 minutes. I promise I will be a little deeper. Now go back to 1946, Malay Union, the British concept. UMNO was formed. Among the intellectuals, the Malay teachers across the country. On Jafar was the founder. And of course, with his wisdom, he opened the doors of UMNO to non-Malays.
Right.
He tried to, he failed. Tunku took the left, Tunku took over, and the election of 1955, on Jafar's party, his new party, I beg your pardon, the early election of 1951, he formed the INP, Independence of Malaya party, flop, total flop, he lost. And then
he won in Terengganu.
He won his one seat in Terengganu. And then 4 years later, in 1955, the election of in Malaya, he formed the party Negara. Again, he won in Terengganu, just one seat. And he won, and Tunku became the first chief minister. Eventually, he closed the party. Couldn't make any headway. UMNO thrived on Malay sentiments, Malay ideology. I mean, it was half a normal in Vietnam. And so UMNO flourished and became the dominant Malay political party. Now that's Malaysian politics, vis-a-vis Malaysian historical backdrop. It's very race-based. NCA came together, MIC, Congress, Malaysian Indian Congress, and the alliance was formed. 4 minutes, I said 4 minutes. I'm not asking a question, I'm just tracing the events, and then I'm going to post one little last question to him from my narrative, 4 minutes. And then the wisdom of Raza to open up alliance to include PAS, Barisan Nasional.
He was forced by circumstances. 1969 right?
Okay, I beg your pardon.
Barisan
Okay.
Nasional is an offshoot.
Yes, because he wanted, Anwar has been winning big throughout. And then came the big power struggle, Razali versus Mahathir, Ghaffar versus Mudad, I beg your pardon, Syudia Musayyidam versus Ghaffar, because Ghaffar Baba was the incumbent, the deputy prime minister, Timbalan, the Timbalan prime minister. And both won and both lost. So Razali formed the Semangat 46. Why Semangat 46 is got to do with the Malay Union of that year, 1946. So the spirit of 1946 failed again. And together with his deputy, the former foreign minister, they dissolved the party, and Razali, the Kuli, Razali, Tunku Razali, encouraged all his members to go back to UMNO. But how? Now this is my question. The Malay mindset, Anwar coming into the picture and managed to win. And UMNO you see today dwindling, which was so formidable a party for 6 decades. Now this is amazing. So I thought to myself. So my question to you is, this question is, do you tell me about Malay wisdom and Malay pragmatism, or if you want for a better word, the real politics in the mindset of the Malays?
Right. Actually, it's a very, very difficult question, but I'm not here to say that I'm experts of Malay, to tell you about the Malay psyche whatsoever. I say how I understand. You know, when you say you're deliberating just now, you should ask the question, why Dato' On? Dato' On is a trained in British, you know. When he want to talk about multiracial party, where did he go? He didn't go to Georgetown. He didn't go to JB. He based in JB. He did not even go to Kuala Lumpur. He went to Kuala Terengganu. Why? This as early as after he formed at the initial stage. It is not even before 1969. And you know what? Not only that, you must study. Remember this just now I said that my uncle was the first person won in 1970, post 1969, PSRM, Parti Sosialis Rakyat Malaysia. My uncle Ramai Yunus won in Balik Pulau. So after he's for the state seat, I'm the first since independent for the parliamentary seat. Why? There's the keyword. Just now, was asking me just now, who this guy? Our friend, this guy. What's your name? I forget your name. Huh? You see? He asked simple questions, but it meant deep. You generasi nombor berapa? Which generation? Where you come from? All these things. You know, that question will explain who are actually behind the back of the island. Most of them Malay diaspora. Who are the diaspora? They may come from Aceh, they may come from Medan, there's a Minang. And not only that, you see me? Some people may thought I have a Chinese blood. No, I have a Siam blood. Because why? Balik Pulau is a hiding place. Oh. So, the key word now, tadi, diaspora. That's why just once he was not happy because Raffles only come here a couple of days, suddenly become a founding father. Something like that. So, but you have to step further. When you read a book called Sun Yat-sen in Penang, Sun Yat-sen only established 2 reading clubs. Tong Meng Hui, the other he was using Tong Meng Hui. One is in Bukit Mentajam, one is Balik Pulau reading club. So the Renaissance seed was planted much earlier. That's why in Bukit Mentajam you see Anwar Ibrahim, in Balik Pulau you see Yusmadi and Hong Sun-sen. You know what I'm saying? So, back to the question, to simply say that Malay like this, no, Malay is very cosmopolitan. Malay can be very modern in whatever interpretation you're talking about. Because at that time, can you imagine, my mother, very simple housewife. If my name is not Yusmadi, my name is supposed to be Bustamang, supposed to be Aminuddin Baki. You know his Bustamang, yeah. The left. Because he came to my house, next to my uncle's house, at that time, because of diaspora. You know why diaspora important? Because Indonesia more advanced. That's why Hamka father already started Adenia, a school for women. That's why Samsia Fakir, Aisyah Ghani, all study in Bukit Tinggi. Why the most intellectual? Hamka, Agus Salim, Hatta, Buyamin, semua all come from Medan, all come from Padang. Suddenly, I was telling Ken Soon, why they're so smart? Number one, scientifically, the smart DNA come from mother. Padang is where they empowered mother. Maternal, not paternal, not patriarchal. So if I want to come up with new philosophy of development, maybe to help the poor in the village, we must empower the family. This wisdom is not coming from Washington. It's not coming from the Anglo-Saxon. You know what I'm saying? That's why Fellow was very successful, because at that time, Tun Razak more or less get wisdom from the left. The concept and the communitarian concept, the cooperative concept. So sometimes when we come with a very market-based oriented economic model, sometimes like you say, tak serasi, tak sesuai. Suddenly you do something which is sesuai, very communitarian, very masyarakat, suddenly things become so effective. Fellow becomes so effective until it was quote-unquote big, and then tabung haji. But someone like Uncle Aziz, another relative to Dato' On, he went to Waseda, he became brilliant, suddenly he came back, he went to Terengganu, study how the Malay actually keep the money put under the mattress. This is not just another smart guy from Oxbridges who come here try to impose their understanding. That's what I'm thinking. Sometimes we have to question. Ken Soon was telling me, Yusmadi, we need to talk about the role of public intellectual now. If you don't do that, all the politicians will be a new public intellectual. Then you will have a problem. So, balik to your real question. What is the Malay psyche? I cannot simply tell you, but one thing I convinced Malay are very cosmopolitan. Why? I say this as a joke. Listen carefully. One good day, one guy came and see one Malay guy in Langkawi. You know Pulau Langkawi? Anyone go to Pulau Langkawi?
Yes.
Okay, Langkawi not style lah, dia balik pulau. Suddenly come under to balik pulau and tell this guy, hey, is this your land lah? Yeah, my land lah. Hey, let's develop lah. So for what? Yeah, develop, make money lah. Make money for what? Yeah, make money, we can enjoy life lah. Then enjoy life, you can enjoy lah. Then say, to do what? Enjoy lah. Third time, then suddenly I say, hey, you have to go round and round to enjoy your life lah. I already enjoying my life now. Then in political science, people talk about modernity, postmodern. Malay already postmodern. What is postmodern? Intuition, imagination, abstraction. I'm telling you, am I right?
Very good.
So what I'm trying to tell you is this. There are a lot of intellectual capacity, intellectual uniqueness, which was not well developed. You know why? Because you kill philosophy school. There's no philosophy school in this region. I don't know who are the last philosopher in Singapore, who is the last philosopher in Malaysia. I don't know, because I don't know. But I think nowadays, what is the real challenge? You do AI, you do cybersecurity. The real challenge is ethics. And Ken Soon is struggling to teach aesthetic. You say, how come architecture school not even teaching you aesthetic? And someone like me in politics, I'm struggling to learn about rhetoric, to learn about logic, to learn about pathos, lapos. You know what I'm trying to tell you. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. All this richness, maybe in the Malay community, maybe in the Chinese community, maybe in the Indian community, maybe in the Indian community, why not we learn? That's why I don't believe Malaysia only be bilingual. We can be quadruple. My mother, for your information, Malay, balik to answer who is Malay. My mother, brother, the best place to learn about cosmopolitanism, multiculturalism is market. Every time she meet the Indian guy, she talk Tamil. Whenever she meet the Chinaman, he talk about Sangkong, Nongkong, Kului. I also speak like that. That's why when I follow Anwar, the first speech in Penang, I still remember. I said, boss, come on, you can see Sarawak Sarawak slowly. Then I said, Ni Hao Ma. Anwar said, Ni Hao Ma in person. Hokkien sebetulnya not Ni Hao Ma. I test him, who speak Hokkien? Come on lah, okay. Okay, in big audience like this, we say what? Not me, how we say what? Huh? What we say? How to say how are you? How we say? Huh? Yes. So only because Anwar forced me, I said I'm a substantial guy, I was lucky. You know what? I'm thankful Anwar. I graduated in 1998. Assuming if I graduated in 1998, there's no reformacy. Assuming someone like me join UMNO, I'm the best candidate. I'm from Al-Mashur, the elite Islamic school. I'm the cream, the Eton of Islamic College. I went to International Islamic University. By definition of the West, by definition of Washington, I suppose I'm the best candidate for Taliban. But the more I learn about my religion, the more I learn about my culture, I become the most modern and cosmopolitan. So what does it mean? There's certain thesis needs to be dismantled. Because our friend is not used to modernity. Yeah? So is our modernity what? Some guys like to be Singapore. Is it wrong? No. I always tell Kensun. I like to conclude this. Is Singapore good in being a financial capital of the region? Why not? But we don't have Borobudur here. We don't even have Angkor Wat here. No? Let it be. If Malaysia, say for example, for uniqueness, we can be a place for culture melting pot. Let build another place there. Assuming, for example, I still remember if I read LKY correctly, he was inspired by Phnom Penh in the first place as an idea of city. Not even some other place. Then when you go, of course. So, say for example, like Indonesia with their own uniqueness. I'm telling you, I go to Indonesia, I learned a lot. In 1994, I did my exchange program when I was studying ASEAN law. I was studying ASEAN, so we went. I created the first. This is the one, the power interaction. I create Malaysia-Indonesia legal integration visit. I bring the smart lawsuit from Malaysia, smart lawsuit from University of Indonesia. I study that. When you know what, I learned a lot. Who are these people now? Bapak Yusril. Who are they? They are already now leader. So I learned. So I think look, you don't underestimate. Institute Technology Bandung, or they have candidates for Nobel Prize for physics. They don't speak English the way Malaysian and Singaporean. But the advancement on calculation now, you do anything. So what's the key now? Computation. For me, if the Malay Muslim can memorize Al-Quran, there must something right about their brain. But can you imagine? You give them, they study about their religion, they study about their culture, you give them the modernity, I'm telling you, this region will be the most interesting region. And I think you have done a great job. You managed to make this region proud. And US now, one of the top 10 university now. Am I right? But at the same time, I'm part of Schwarzman Scholars. I and another guy here, the only guy from Malaysia, we are interviewing the future leader of the world. Last time, US and UK, they create Rhodes Scholar. They do at Oxford. Yeah. Nowadays, they say, no, look here. If you don't understand China, you can be global leader. So they create another program called Schwarzman Scholar. So I, the few guy here, all the big name here, Blackstone, Steve put money 500 million in Beijing, in Tsinghua University. Because last time, Kensun has to go to MIT. Nowadays, maybe we have to go to Tsinghua. Because they are the MIT of the world now. That's what I'm telling you. So maybe we meet new generation to create friendship now, not when they become a minister. I was lucky. I'm part of a group. That's why I know Kensun. A group called Asian Dialogue Society. Let me introduce you them. Asian Dialogue Society is a fellowship of friendship. Anwar, and then Kensun, siapa lagi? Raja Ratnam here. We have no other interest except to make this region become great. Even the word shared destiny was sponsored by them. We must have a shared destiny. So I think the friendship, I'm the younger, he's 80s, 70s, 80s already. 70s. I'm here, me and my wife. Suddenly I got a chance to interact with him, with Sulim Pixuan, Sukumban, RPP, David Fortuna Anwar, who built this region become what they are today. Suddenly I realized, there must something right about their work. ASEAN has the centrality. ASEAN has something uniqueness. But nowadays, is a new generation making friends like, maybe not. Because the program, what's your program? Future leaders. Learn about corporate leadership. They talk only about trade and economics. So for me, your question just now, why I take longer, is very important. So I value this kind of program. That's why don't underestimate the power of interaction. I say slowly, interaction, not emotion. Collaboration, not collusion, not corruption. Apa sekali? Ayah sekali. Erection. You don't love another once a while. Okay lah, if you find a loved one, don't talk about erection lah. So first must interact first. After interact here, and then baru collaborate. We only talk about collaboration, but zero interaction. Everyone silo. But muafakat is beyond collaboration. Despite differences, no, we must muafakat because decision will be in trouble. Decision has to be secure. Decision has to be stable. You have differences, keep to yourself. You have bigger things, something bigger than you. So that's what I mean by my philosophy of muafakat. But muafakat is not new, is the old formula embraced by all the founding fathers in this region. So, jangan susah. Okay, please. Jangan susah-susah, tanya Kinsun. Dari tiga one, tanya Kinsun.
Okay, the hard one I ask Kinsun. So, my name is Ibnor. So I was actually quite lucky. I was Ibnor. Or Ibnor Rashad. Or Everose. I think Malaysia is still quite lucky. You see, have Professor Syed Naqib Alatas, right? He's a philosopher, quite well respected. And what I didn't know is Anwar Ibrahim also helped co-created the IUM over there.
Yes.
That's a big surprise. And I think this is a loss in Singapore where we don't really educate our young ones on the history of our past leaders as much. I think it's something to look into possibly. So I was actually there in Stanford, Silicon Valley, 2009, and I think Anwar Ibrahim was there, right?
2008, 2009.
And then, so the weird thing is, I was thinking, because I'm a Singaporean, right? So my Malaysian friends put me, like, hey, come, I got this dinner, right? Anwar going to give a talk. And then I didn't know at the end of it, because Anwar is a person who actually goes around, and like at the end of the talk, he will like salam, and he will like shake hands with everyone. And when he arrives to me, because he asks everyone, like, oh, where are you from, right? And I think it's something which I learned from him is very personal. And when he asked me where am I from, I'm like, south of Malaysia. And I said, what do you mean by south of Malaysia? Is it Johor or south of Johor? They say, south of Johor, and then he laughed. Yeah, and I think this is something which I admire about him. I mean, to be very honest with you, when I was hearing him speak, I think that time was at Cupertino or one of the restaurants. I actually felt afraid for Singapore actually, because the way he speak and the charisma and the way within the halls were businessmen, part of the diaspora of Malaysians who are overseas.
I ask you very spontaneous question.
Go.
Spontaneous question. Say in front of them.
Yeah.
He said the same when he spoke in Palo Alto and the same when he spoke here. Because some people argue he said differently.
It's quite close. It's actually, and hence my concern, right? So when I heard that, this was 2009, my concern was that if this guy were to go back and become Prime Minister of Singapore, and Prime Minister of Malaysia, Singapore is going to be screwed. And somehow that didn't happen. So in a way, we got time. So we bought some time, right? But then when he become Prime Minister, then my concern is that we wasted our time when Anwar wasn't Prime Minister to really get us up to speed. And I think in terms of innovation, I think Kingston has wrote a lot of it. We are not there yet. I mean, Singapore is seen as being innovative, but I think on the ground we sense, I'm an innovator, like we sense that there could be much more that can be done. The concern which I have, and I think you talk about muafakat. I mean, for me, I learned a simpler word lah, kampung spirit, or 21st century kampung spirit lah, right? A more simpler, more simpler term. The concern is that there's the Lanka Sheraton that happened, right? And parties move, right? And you have a coalition government. Is there a text or a document or some form of agreement that could ensure that the prime ministership is stable, whatever movements that can happen at the bottom? And the reason why I'm concerned is because I'm also an entrepreneur. I want to set up businesses, like expand beyond, right? And hence my concern, right? Because when anything moves again, then do I, as a businessman from Singapore going out there, do I have to restart from scratch again? And I think it's something which, as much as I love the concept of muafakat, I mean the real politics is, if Malaysia itself can be muafakat within itself, right? Then as Singapore who really wants to have a stable region for us to function and thrive, how then can that muafakat be built, right? And I think in terms of like that document or text or letter, that agreement, is it something that's enforceable from the Sultan or not? So that's number one. Number two is that the question of Johor, and I think this is something which has been like I know it's like sometimes the Sultan said this, sometimes the Sultan said that. Like how like the as a Singaporean here, like is it something that we should really be concerned when the Sultan said that, oh, we are going to break off from the federation, or is it something it's more like he says but it cannot really actually happen lah? Yeah. So these are my two key questions. Yeah.
Can I just add on to the question, Kingston? Sorry. Here. What do you think the chances of PAS winning the next election with the increased popularity and their seats in the federal now? Looking at it, I don't know the chances.
Actually, we are actually coming close to the end of the time that we have here. Okay, so I think on the question of PAS, I think we did talk about it right already. That the green wave, according to him, is not really a green wave, and that the Malay psyche is much more complex than what we read in the newspaper. That they're all led by the nose, by the imams and whatnot, right? I think the Malay world is much more complex, right? Okay, so I'm afraid that I have to end tonight's session. I must thank Yusmadi a lot, but in summarize, I want to summarize also what he has said and what has been discussed. The most important takeaway that I think I heard is the idea that we should not have kind of academic discussion. We should have the kind of kopi sessions, conversation, real conversation, right? Across, to start off with Singapore and Malaysia, and then with Indonesia and with Philippines and so on. So we should, how should, I begin to think about how we're going to do this. I think with modern technology, we can possibly do it through Zoom, right? But occasionally, I think we also need to meet directly, personally, okay? So I think the kampong spirit, which I think underpins the mufakat idea, is a very important thing, you see, because I think there's a tendency in modern societies, modern urban societies, to do things in a much more formal and organized and regulated sort of way, you know. I think we need to be a bit more relaxed, a bit more conversational, a bit more friendly and humorous and so on. So I think that has been a very important contribution in tonight's discussion. So thank you all very much, and I want to thank Yusmadi a lot. Thank you for coming.
Sorry, I answer your question. We talk at the side table.
We can always continue session over a cup of
Maaf kalau apa-apa kurang, kalau ada kurang, ada silap, mohon maaf.